भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप गदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिन्नित नामने नमः आचार्य पदाय निताय कृपा प्रदायने गौरकतरामदाय नगर रामदाय। Hare Krishna, everybody. Please accept my humble obeisances and welcome to our weekly Saturday Bhagavatam classes. Firstly, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for giving this opportunity to serve all of you through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. And as Swami Prabhu was mentioning, being the conditioned soul that I am, I realized very late that it was our turn, and I wasn't very sure. But Soumya Prabhu has such strong resolve to ensure that Bhagavatam never stops. Nityam Bhagavad Sevya always continues. And somehow, I got inspired by his association and by his resolve, and thought I'll go ahead and serve. And this is a little more favorable than usual because in such situations, the mood of dependence comes naturally. We need not try for it. It comes by default. So I'll helplessly beg for all of your mercy, all of your prayers, so that I serve all of you in a offenseless manner, and in that process purify myself. Vansha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Great. Okay. So today we'll be talking from the fourth canto, 20th chapter. So this chapter is titled Lord Vishnu's Appearance in the Sacrificial Arena of Maharaj Prithu. Right. So here, in the previous few chapters, we've been talking about, we saw the pastimes of Anga, Maharaj Anga, and then Vena. And after that, we saw the appearance of Prithu Maharaj and his glorious life and his pastimes, how Prithu Maharaj chastised Mother Earth and extracted all the natural produces from her. In the 17th and 18th chapter, we saw that. Then in the previous chapter, 19th chapter, we saw the instructive episode of Prithu Maharaj performing Ashwamedha Yajna, 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, and Indra trying to disrupt the Yajna. Right? We saw that entire episode and the lessons we can derive from all of it. Right? That's what we've been discussing in the previous sessions. So Prithu Maharaj, he initiated the performance of 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. He wanted to undertake that tapasya, and he performed 99 yajnas with great opulence, right? And then when he was about to do the 100th yajna, Indra got very insecure because Indra had got his position because he had done 100 Ashwamedha yajnas in the past and he had been Shatakratu. And when he saw that somebody else is doing, he got insecure that he might have to give up his position, right? And he came in disguise as a sadhu, as a sannyasi, and he tried to steal the sacrificial horse. And then Prithu Maharaj gets, very angry. He instructs his son Vijitashwa to go and get the horse back from this sage, sadhu, right? Indra, who has come as a sadhu. So Vijitashva goes, he, tries to shoot Indra. Indra gets scared and leaves the horse behind and runs away. And, the horse is brought back. But then Indra doesn't learn. He keeps trying to steal the horse multiple times, again and again. And finally, Prithu Maharaj says, enough is enough. This person is, first of all, he's establishing religious principles by coming as a sadhu and setting wrong example. And he's trying to disturb my tapasya, my yajna, 100th Ashwamedha yajna. So I am going to kill him personally. Prithu Maharaj gets up and he goes to kill Indra. And that's when the Brahmanas say that, no, no, Prithu Maharaj, like, you have to follow certain etiquette, certain regulations when we are doing tapasya. If you do an act of violence, then the whole mood of tapasya will be lost and we won't get the benefit of the tapasya. So you don't do anything. Don't worry, leave it to us. We will chant mantras which will drag Indra and put him into the sacrificial fire. So we'll do it. And the Brahmanas started chanting the mantras as well. But just then, in that sacrificial arena, Brahma comes there. And Brahma says, he tells to Prithu Maharaj and the Brahmanas that you are not supposed to kill Indra. Instead, Brahma gives a solution of how to resolve this conflict. And Brahma says the only solution is, he tells Prithu Maharaj, please stop your yajna. Right? Now, we have to understand the magnitude of this instruction from Prithu Maharaj's lens. Prithu Maharaj, if he has done 99 Ashwamedha yajnas, even doing one Ashwamedha yajna is extremely difficult. It's not easy, right? And he has done 99 of them with the resolve of doing 100, which means he should have had so much determination, so much of strong, driven by purpose, right? He must be so fixed in doing that. But just one instruction from Brahma that you give it up, it's okay. You need not do 100 Ashwamedha yajnas. And Prithu Maharaj instantly gave it up, right? He understood the mood of Brahma and he gave up. And he didn't give up at the second Ashwamedha yajna or the 10th or 50th. He gave up at the 99th Ashwamedha yajna. 100th one, he started 100th also. He just has to finish it. But at that moment as well, he gave up his attachment to the Ashwamedha yajna in the and followed the advice of Brahma. Right now, Brahma did not go and ask Indra that you stop disturbing the yajna, which would have seemed logical, but Brahma did not do that because Brahma knew that Indra is completely covered with ignorance right now, and Puranas, they say that if we give good advice to ignorant people, it will only backfire. Upadesho hi murkanam prakopayana shantaye payappanam mujanganam kevalam vishavardhanam. Right? Which means that if we give good advice to envious people, ignorant people who are overcome with envy, pride, and all of attachment and all of these things, then prakopayana shantaye. They get more agitated. Instead of becoming pacified and calm down, they become more agitated. So Brahma did not go to Indra. He came to Prithu Maharaj instead and he gave this advice. And when Prithu Maharaj heard Brahma's solution, Prithu Maharaj thought, like, what is the real purpose why I am doing this Ashwamedha Yajna? Two purposes. One is to please the Supreme Lord, Sri Hari, right? That is the highest purpose of not just sacrifice, anything that we do, that is the highest purpose. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, अतः पुंभिरद्विज श्रेष्ठ वर्णाश्रम विभागश स्वानुस्थितस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम्. So that is the Haritoshanam is the highest goal. So that was one purpose why Prithu Maharaj was doing. And Prithu Maharaj thought, what will give more pleasure to the Lord? Me doing 100 Ashwamedha yajnas or me listening to the advice of a devotee, Brahma, and stopping at 99 yajnas? Right? 100 might seem greater than 99, but which will give more pleasure? And Prithu Maharaj realized stop listening to Brahma will give more pleasure to the Lord. And the second purpose why he was doing this yajna was to protect the citizens. But as long as Prithu Maharaj is doing this yajna, Indra will helplessly keep attacking, keep coming in some disguise, some form, establish adharma and all of that, and set very wrong example to the citizens. Right? So Prithu Maharaj thought, okay, it's in the best interest to stop this yajna. So he accepted this instruction and he stopped. And the moment Prithu Maharaj agreed and he stopped to do this sacrifice, Prithu Maharaj got something that he would not have got even if he had completed all 100 sacrifices. Right? And this was that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, himself appeared there. And Vishnu had appeared in the previous yajnas as well when Prithu Maharaj had done. That was not the special thing. But the special aspect in this time, Vishnu's appearance this time was Vishnu was extremely pleased with Prithu Maharaj. And Vishnu had not come alone there. He had come with a guest. And it was Indra himself. But this time, Indra had not come with all his anarthas, with his attachment, with his pride, not in disguise. Indra came with a very guilty heart and he came there to apologize to Prithu Maharaj, right? So that is the context in which we are starting this chapter, fourth canto's 20th chapter, which is titled Lord Vishnu's Appearance in the Sacrificial Arena of Maharaj Prithu. So this chapter has 38 shlokas. It's divided into four sections broadly. First section of the first 16 shlokas is about Lord Vishnu instructing Prithu Maharaj, various instructions he gives. So we'll look at that. The next section, 17 to 22, is about Lord's affectionate dealings with Prithu Maharaj. And by extension, it shows how Lord deals very affectionately with any devotee who pleases him and how we can please the Lord. Right? So we'll look at that aspect. And third section, from 23rd to 31st, is the prayers of Maharaj Prithu, the beautiful prayers. And the rest of the class is going to be how we can learn, what we can learn from the prayers of Maharaj Prithu, and how we can sort of follow the footsteps of Prithu Maharaj without imitating him and have the same mood of prayers for ourselves as well. Right? And finally, the last section, 32 to 38, is Lord Vishnu's benediction to Prithu Maharaj, and then Vishnu departs back to the spiritual world. So this is how the chapter is structured, four main sections, and we'll pause in section 2, and then after section 4, we'll again sort of try to understand, try to derive learnings from this episode. Right? So it starts with Vishnu appearing in that sacrificial arena, and he instructs Prithu Maharaj to forgive Indra. He tells Indra has come with a heavy heart, with a guilty heart, and you please forgive him. He's very guilty, very repentant. And Indra walks ahead with tears in his eyes. Indra bends down and holds the feet of Prithu Maharaj and begs forgiveness in front of everybody who were there in the sacrificial arena. Right? And Lord continues to give instructions to Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj accepts, Indra, he lifts him up, right? And he forgives Indra. And then the Lord continues to give instructions. He says that devotees are never malicious, they are never inimical because they understand the difference between the body and the soul. And as a result, they are never affected by the three modes of material nature. They are never carried away by Maya. They are always fixed in remembrance of the Lord, always fixed in the devotional service of me. So, in this way, the Lord gives instructions to Prithu Maharaj. He tells him the qualities, he speaks philosophy about how a devotee should be to give instruction to Prithu Maharaj. And then he gives direct instructions. He says, Prithu Maharaj, you practice equality. You be equipoised in all situations. You practice sense control, right? And you protect your citizens. And by doing all of these things, by taking care of doing these duties very nicely, all the good deeds that your citizens will do, you will get 1/6 of the benefit of that. Right? But if you fail to do your duty as a king, all the sins that the citizens are doing, you will have to face the reaction of that. Right? And the Lord says that if you manage to follow these instructions very nicely, then I assure you that all your citizens and everybody around you will love you unconditionally without any envy. Right? And then finally, the Lord says, Prithu Maharaj, I'm extremely pleased with your character, with your conduct, with your detachment, and I want to give you a benediction. Please ask for any benediction that you want. Right? So, in this way, we see how more than performing 99 grand yajnas, that one incomplete yajna that Prithu Maharaj did, that gave so much more pleasure to the Lord, that the Lord was forced to personally come and address Prithu Maharaj. And in the next section, we'll see how the Lord dealt very affectionately with Prithu Maharaj as well. But the point here is that, what did Prithu Maharaj do that pleased the Lord so much? And it is the fact, what Prithu Maharaj did was, how he resolved the conflict that he had with Indra. Even though there was no mistake of Prithu Maharaj, what approach Prithu Maharaj took to resolve that conflict, that was very, very pleasing to the Lord, right? Now, this doesn't mean that whenever some injustice happens to us, we just, bend over and allow people to um, utilize us however, right? That's not the intent. Chanakya Pandit, he says that straight trees are the ones that are cut first, right? Crooked trees are not cut. Whenever woodcutter comes to cut the wood for furniture and all that, they will look for straight trees. Similarly, people who are very straightforward, very innocent, they are the ones who are cheated first in this material world, right? So as devotees, it's not that we should just allow people to come harass us, and we don't do anything because we think it'll please the Lord. That's not the intent. There's a little more sophistication to this, little more understanding that we can develop, right? So conflicts are a reality of all of our life. Everybody, no matter who we are, we will have conflicts either at home, with family, at work, at office, at school, anywhere we go, we will have conflicts. And unfortunately, when we come to our spiritual life, these conflicts continue. Conflicts amongst devotees are always there. It could be between devotee and mentor, between devotee and temple congregation, between devotee and management, right? Between congregation members themselves. So across multiple groups, we constantly see that there are conflicts. And sometimes these conflicts seem to be far more severe and intense than the conflicts in the material world outside, right? And this is primarily because of like certain script principles of shastras that we end up misunderstanding as sadhakas, right? We think we got it, but we end up misunderstanding them, right? And for example, if somebody is suffering, naturally the first thought that comes to our mind is it's okay, it's their karma, right? They're undergoing that, right? So it makes us very insensitive at the core, right? Recently there was an earthquake in Taliban where lot of people, they lost their lives. Very severe earthquake in Afghanistan, and Taliban was the ruling government there. And Taliban had a rule that if every man can only touch his husband, he cannot touch any other woman except his husband. Right now, this rule is shastric. It is derived from the shastras, right? Even Chanakya Pandit, he says, Matravat paradhareshu paradhravyeshu loshtravat atmavat sarvabhuteshu yaha pashyati saha pandita. That who can be called a scholar, Pandita? The first criteria is Matravat paradhareshu. One who sees every other woman except his wife as his woman, as his mother, right? Now, this is what Taliban is asking everybody to do. So it seems like derived from the Shastras. But this is so much away from the purpose of this principle, so far away, so extreme, so severe, that so many women and children helplessly they were getting crumpled under the stones, debris in the earthquake, and the men were helplessly watching them, trying to help them, but they couldn't because they are not; those women are not their wives, and they just stood there, not able to do anything because of this strong rule, right? So this is just one extreme example of how one shastric principle can be misused, right? Similarly, whenever you know we meet with other devotees because of such misunderstood principles, we constantly keep getting into conflicts. Now the question is, how can we overcome them? How can we work together more effectively? How can we connect with other devotees a little more effectively, right? And this is the core principle of it, right? For example, we'll take an analogy scenario that there's Janmashtami program happening in the temple, and let's say there's there's a devotee who's in charge of the entire festival, and he gives sevas to everybody, and he gives seva to one other Prabhu, and he gives him the seva of crowd control, that you have to manage the crowd on this day, on the festival day. And that Prabhu, he estimates that, okay, based on past historic data and all of that, on the festival day, we will have 1 lakh people, public, who will come to the temple, right? But on the day of the festival, they realize it's not 1 lakh, it's 5 lakhs. Lot more people come than what they were prepared for. And then there's stampede, there's chaos, and everything goes, out of the roof. Now, at the end of this, there are three different ways in which that festival coordinator can look at the mistake that this crowd control coordinator has done. There are three ways in which this can be perceived. First is to assume that, okay, this was a judgment error. Fine, this person estimated that 1 lakh will come, but a lot more people came. He just could not judge correctly, right? He was completely ready and all that, but just he didn't judge. So that's the first conclusion, that it was a judgment error. Second conclusion is that this person does not have the ability. Forget 1 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, whatever. He just does not have the ability to do crowd control and crowd management. He's too soft or whatever. It doesn't work for him and he lacks the skills, and that is why he failed, right? Out of the two, the second one is a little more troubling, little more hurtful. And the third one is, third assumption that the person can make is that uh, this person had a wrong motive. He wanted to take revenge against me, and he knew that I am the overall festival coordinator. And if any service goes wrong, the blame will come on me. And he wanted to defame me, and that is why he took up this seva and he completely screwed it up so that I can be chastised and I can be criticized, right? So then the third conclusion is we judge the motive of the other person, right? So out of the three, the third one is the most dangerous and the most hurtful as well, right? And from that point, there's like very little chance of coming back and resolving the conflict, right? So we constantly see in our life as well, whenever there are conflicts, these are the three conclusions that we can come to. And Krishna, in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when he talks about divine and demoniac qualities, he says one of the qualities devotee should have is a paishunam, which means aversion to fault finding, right? So he's basically saying that we should go from the least negative conclusion to the most negative conclusion and not jump to the most negative conclusion right away, right? There are many examples by which we can learn this. For example, the whole Vali and Sugriv episode, right? To summarize, like Vali and Sugriv, they go chasing a demon. The demon goes inside a cave, and Vali tells Sugriv, "You stand here outside the cave. I will go kill the demon and come. And if you don't hear back from me, and if you don't see me coming back, you just ensure that this demon doesn't go back to the kingdom. Because if he has defeated both of us, then all the citizens' lives are in danger. So you protect. You stay here and you protect." So Sugriv says, "No, no, Vali, I want to come in." But Vali says, "No, I will go. You stay here." So Vali goes inside the cave. And for many days, Sugriv is just standing there. Finally, Sugriv hears a loud roar from the enemy. Generally, after killing, Vali is the one who roars. But this time, Sugriv heard a loud roar from enemy, from the demon. And then after that, Sugriv was getting scared. What is happening? What is happening? Then Sugriv saw that from the mouth of the cave there was a stream of blood that was flowing. Right? Then Sugriv got even more tensed. Then he thought, if this demon has killed Vali himself, the powerful Vali, my brother, if elder brother, if he got killed by this demon, then I don't stand any chance. And if I also lose, the citizens will get slaughtered. So what Sugriv did, he finally closed the cave, mouth of the cave with a huge boulder from outside, and he went back. And he went back to the kingdom and he told everybody that Vali has been killed by a demon, right? And he feels very sad. And the ministers, they say that Vali's son Angad is very young, so you become the king. But Sugriv says, "No, no, I don't want any kingdom. I don't want any of it. I'm very sad." But the ministers say, "No, it is your responsibility towards your brother. Please do it." And Sugriv reluctantly agrees. He becomes the king. He's seated on the throne. Meanwhile, Vali comes out. Vali was the one who had killed the demon. He was just so tired after the fight that he didn't roar. But the demon who got killed, in pain, the demon had cried, shouted, right? So Vali came out and he saw the cave was closed. And Vali got suspicious. He started shouting, "Sugriv, Sugriv, where are you?" And he couldn't hear anything. And Vali tried to move the rock, but it was very heavy. And then he was just stuck inside there for a long time. And fortunately, Vali got something to eat there, so he survived for a while and then regained his strength. And then he pushed out the boulder and he came out. And after Vali came out, he was very shocked, very surprised. No Sugriv, nothing. And he thought this rock cannot come and fall here on its own. Sugriv must have placed it here. And suspicion, doubt was coming. And then Vali went to the kingdom and he saw Sugriv seated on the throne. And Vali became ferocious. He said, "Now I know why you did this. I trusted you with my life. I thought you were my brother. And for the kingdom, you created this false narrative that some demon killed me and you took over my throne like this. And Vali fights with Sugriv and he thrashes Sugriv very badly. Sugriv runs all over the world. Vali chases him. And finally, Sugriv settles in Rishamukh Parvat, where Vali couldn't go. And Vali wanted to somehow punish Sugriv. He is that, desire to punish Sugriv was so harsh that finally Vali took the wife of Sugriv. And that was like a point of no return. That was the end. And then eventually this conflict got resolved when Lord Ram came and he killed Vali. There was no other way to resolve it except killing Vali, right? So here what had happened was Sugriv had done judgment error. He just thought Vali had died, but actually the demon had died. But what Vali did, he jumped to the conclusion that it was a motive issue. Sugriv didn't have the right motive. And because of that, that relationship got completely destroyed and there was no way to resolve the conflict, right? But we see other examples in the Shastras where there was extreme conflicts, extreme, negative actions that were performed. But because somebody was able to give benefit of doubt, that relationship got saved. For example, in Ramayana, between Kaikeyi, Mother Kaikeyi and Lord Ram, Kaikeyi ensured that Lord Ram goes to the forest, is exiled to the forest one day before he was supposed to be the king. Right? So Lord Ram obviously would have been shocked. Mother Kaikeyi was extremely harsh and bitter at that time. But Lord Ram gave her the benefit of doubt that maybe this is a judgment error. Right? And then Lord Ram continued. He told everybody. He told Lakshman. He told his Kaushalya. He told everybody that please don't scold Kaikeyi. Don't hurt her. It's okay. She's going through a phase. It's just a lack of judgment. She only wants the best for her son. She does not hate me. So he was convincing everybody like that. And when Lord Ram he started to the forest, then Bharat comes, he scolds, Kaikeyi, and then Kaikeyi realizes her mistake. And then when Bharat comes to meet Lord Ram in the Bharat Ram Milap episode, Kaikeyi also comes. She accompanies Bharat and she hugs Lord Ram and she cries and she begs him that you please come back and accept the throne. Right? So this is the quality of somebody. Like one thing is we are saying that give benefit of doubt to others. First assume that it's judgment error and then slowly go to ability error and finally motive issue, right? Don't directly jump to motive issue conclusion. But the thing is, okay, let's say we gave benefit of doubt. How do we genuinely know it was just a judgment error? That is because how we know that is if somebody genuinely just had a lapse of judgment, then when their mistake is exposed, they won't become all agitated and angry and even more ferocious. Instead, they realize their mistake and they apologize and they seek forgiveness, right? They genuinely repent for it. And then we know that, okay, this is a judgment error, right? So in this case as well, we see the relationship between Lord Ram and Mother Kaikeyi was not impacted in the long run. They again became very favorable to each other, right? So there are multiple other episodes like this as well. And now coming back to this pastime of Prithu Maharaj and Indra, Prithu Maharaj was willing to give that benefit of doubt to Indra because Brahma advised, the Lord is asking. So Prithu Maharaj gave the benefit of doubt that, okay, maybe it was judgment error of Indra. And Indra actually reciprocated by genuinely repenting, genuinely feeling guilty and begging forgiveness from Prithu Maharaj to prove that, yes, it was only judgment error and nothing more. Right? And by following this approach, by resolving this conflict in this way, Prithu Maharaj was able to give great pleasure to the Lord. Right? So now we'll jump to the next section of this chapter, which is the prayers of Prithu Maharaj. Right? Prithu Maharaj looks at the Lord, right? And Bhagavatam says the Lord was so pleased with Prithu Maharaj that although the purpose for which the Lord had come to get forgiveness for Indra, that purpose was done. The Lord can go. But he had so much affection for Prithu Maharaj that he just stood there looking at Prithu Maharaj and the Lord could not depart from there because of his love for Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj also saw the Lord for a long time and then he had tears in his eyes and just seeing the Lord did not feel enough for Prithu Maharaj. That did not satisfy him. Then he wanted to glorify the Lord, offer prayers. And he offers beautiful prayers to the Lord. But one prayer that, we'll explicitly chant and call out is the 23rd shloka, where Prithu Maharaj says, Varan vibhotad varadeshwara katam rinite guna vikriyatmanam yenarakanam api shanti dehinam Tanisha Kaivalyapate Vrinena Cha. So Prithu Maharaj is saying, Varadeshwara, O Lord, you are the best among the givers of boons, givers of benedictions, right? In Kanchipuram, we have this temple of Varadaraja Swami temple, right? The best, the king of all the, benedictors. So that is the Lord. So Prithu Maharaj is glorifying the Lord as somebody who is the best among those who can give benedictions. But Prithu Maharaj says, I don't want anything from you. I don't want any benediction. I'm not asking for any material boons. Why? Katam vrinite guna vikriyatmanam. Because these material benedictions, petty material boons, are accessible to even those who are completely stuck in the three modes of material nature. And ye narakanam apishanti dehinam. Even people who are living in hellish conditions, they also have access to such, uh, you know, uh, benedictions of sense pleasure and enjoyment and all of that. And he says, Tanisha Kaivalyapate Vrinenacha. So the Lord is called Kaivalyapati. Kaivalya means liberation, and Kaivalyapati means the bestower of liberation, one who can give liberation, Mukunda, right? And he says, although you can easily give me liberation, I don't want that also from you, right? I reject material happiness and I reject liberation. I want nothing from you, right? And we see that this theme of prayer is there continuously across all the devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. Recently, we saw Dhruva Maharaj. He also tells the same thing, that I don't want anything from you, my Lord. I don't even want liberation, right? I just want the association of your devotees and I want to hear about your glories. Same thing we see Prahlad Maharaj and so many other devotees in Bhagavatam. They have the same theme in their prayers. When the Lord comes face to face with them and asks them, "What do you want?" including Gajendra, and even though they might have started their practice, their sadhana, their bhakti with the intent of liberation, either from the situation or from this material world, when they actually see the Lord, they don't ask for liberation. They don't ask for material benefits. They don't ask anything, right? Here also we see that Prithu Maharaj is not asking anything because karmis they desire for heavenly pleasure, jnanis they desire for liberation, but devotees only desire for devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, right? So Prithu Maharaj says the only benediction I want is I want hundreds and thousands of years so that I can hear your glorification from the lotus lips of pure devotees, right? And he says anybody who gives up the association of such devotees and does not hear about your glories, they are only animals. Only animals can do that. Nobody else can do like that, right? And then he says, I want to continuously render devotional service unto your lotus feet. And finally, in the 31st shloka of his prayers, Prithu Maharaj says, I'm sorry, my lord. I've been asking for devotional service. I've been asking for association. I've been asking for opportunities to hear about you, but I am a foolish man. I don't know what is good for me, what is bad for me. I'm asking these things, but I know I am not qualified for it. But I know that you are my well wishing father and you will give me whatever is best for me. So, whatever is good for me, you please give that and I will accept it. Right? So then after this, the Lord becomes very happy, pleased with Prithu Maharaj, and he gives him the benediction of pure loving devotional service. He blesses him with that. And then, he gives him again instructions of how to rule and all of that. And the Lord departs from that place. And finally, Prithu Maharaj, from that sacrificial arena, he starts coming back to his kingdom and he's welcomed very nicely by his citizens. And in the next chapter, we'll see how gloriously Prithu Maharaj ruled his kingdom and what instructions Prithu Maharaj gave to his citizens and how the citizens glorified their king Prithu Maharaj. So that's what we'll see in the next chapter. And now the final section of our session, right? What can we learn from Prithu Maharaj's prayers? What can we learn from the mood of Prithu Maharaj? Now, these are all like almost like lip service. In ISKCON, in Krishna consciousness, or in any other religious organization as well, uh, we know these principles that when we go in front of the Lord, we are not supposed to ask anything. We are supposed to surrender, and asking any benedictions from the Lord can backfire. All of these things we know, but we are helplessly, tuned. Our mind is tuned in a way that we go to the Lord with a huge list of desires that please do this, please do that, please do this for me, right? And that is not wrong. Bhagavatam does not reject such things. even Bhagavad Gita doesn't, but Bhagavatam also does not reject, a devotee going to the Lord and asking for desires. Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarabi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusha param. It says whether we have no desires or our heart is filled with material desires or we have a desire for liberation, whatever it is, the only solution is Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, intense devotional service. We all are supposed to do that, right? Now, while that is okay, that is bona fide, that is sanctioned by Bhagavatam, but our aspiration should not end there. We should not become comfortable and think that, okay, I'll stay here for eternity, right? When we hear the prayers of Prithu Maharaj, of Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Kunti Maharani, and all of these great personalities in Bhagavatam, at least our aspiration should be that at some point in time, I need to get to that stage where I go to the Lord unconditionally and I just tell the Lord, you can give me whatever you want, and even if you don't give, it is okay. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, whether you hug me or you kick me, it's okay because I'm yours. I'm your servant, right? We have to get to that mood, right? But getting there artificially will not help and it won't sustain also. It is like Indra coming in the disguise of a sadhu. Right? It won't last for long. So we'll try to understand what is the principle of getting to that high lofty stage of that lofty mood of a pure devotee. From where we are, how can we get there? What is that process? How do we bridge that? So we'll try to understand that, right? So in this material world, right, the shastras, they say that in the human form of life there are four main goals of the human form of life. The entire Vedic Shastras, they cover these four Purusharthas, Chatur Purusharthas in great detail. And these four are Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So Dharma, it has many meanings. It could mean occupational duty, it can mean many things. But in this context, Dharma basically means executing acts of religiosity, following religion and all of that. That is Dharma. Artha is earning economic benefit, accumulating wealth. That is Artha. Kama is that we're fulfilling all our desires, and moksha is we are desiring for liberation from this material world. Right now, everybody in this material world, every human being is aspiring for one or more of these four things in a very intense manner. Somebody is extremely attracted towards doing religious activities, charities, and all of that. Somebody else is extremely hooked towards earning money. There's no end to it. They want to earn more and more. Many others are just engaged in sense gratification, right? And there are a few others who only want liberation. They're fed up of the first three, and they want liberation, right? So it is important for us to understand that the first three out of these four goals, first three goals are very different from the fourth goal. It's put in a different category because first three goals, it is related to staying in this material world, whereas the fourth goal is about leaving this material world, getting out of this material world, right? So we'll look at the first three now, and then we'll look at the fourth one separately, right? So first was dharma. Chanakya Pandit in his Chanakya Niti says, Sukasya Moolam Dharma, which means that any material comfort, any benefit, any happiness that we are experiencing in this life, it is only because of some act of dharma that we had performed in the previous life. Without that, there is no way we can experience material comfort and happiness in this life. Right? We might think that okay, it could be ability. I might be trying very hard. If I try very hard, if I do hard work, maybe then I'll get material comfort and all of that, right? But we know that our effort, our endeavor has a very small role. If somebody is born into a rich family and has everything given to them, with even with no ability, they can enjoy all the comforts and pleasures of life. But somebody who has extreme talent, very nice skills, and all of those things, but they are born in a very poor background, they might there's a good chance they might never experience any comfort in life altogether. They might always stay in that condition of life, right? So that is why Chanakya Pandit says that the sukasya moolam dharma. For happiness, the root cause is dharma, the dharma that we have done in the previous life. And what we do now will give us happiness in the future life, right? In the tantric sampradayas, uh, who worship Lord Dattatreya. That is the object of their worship. That personality is the object of their worship. But in these tantric sampradayas, there's a prayer that they offer to the Lord Dattatreya. They say, Purvadattam tu yat jnanam, Purvadattam tu yat dhanam, Purvadatta tu ya kanya, Agre dhavati dhavati, which means Purvadattam tu yat jnanam, that whatever knowledge we give to others, and Purvadattam tu yat dhanam, whatever wealth, charity we give to others, Purvadatta tu yat kanya, if we raise a daughter nicely and give her in marriage to a worthy groom, then agre davati davati. These gifts that we are giving to others, they run before us to the next life and they wait for us to get there. Before we take our next birth, they are waiting there to manifest for us, right? So all of these things come back. So any comfort, any material benefit we are experiencing, it's a result of past dharma that we have performed. Now, for us to experience the same sort of comfort and pleasure in the future lives, we need to do dharma now as well. But to do dharma, we need artha, we need wealth, right? We need Lakshmi. Whether it's, we are doing fire sacrifice or we are organizing a preaching event or we want to do some outreach activities for anything, we need artha, we need wealth, right? And even to do kama, to fulfill our desires, we need artha, right? So root of both dharma and artha, dharma and kama is artha, right? And Chanakya Pandit, he says, parasparasya anupagahatakam, which means he says that these three goals of life, dharma, artha, kama, should always stay in harmony. We should not do one thing so much that it affects the other two. We should not become so dharmic that we lose the interest to earn money. We should not earn money so much that we forget dharma. We should not be so much in sense gratification that we forget dharma and artha. So all these should be very carefully balanced. And if somebody is able to do that, they are happy and peaceful in this material world. This is the conclusion of the Shastras, of all our Vedic scriptures, right? But the question is that just this is not enough, right? Because in all of these three things, it's very transactional. It's like give and take, right? That is why people get fed up of it and they come to the fourth category, moksha, right? So we'll now try to understand how these are very, very transactional. So, for example, dharma. In dharma, why does somebody do dharma? So that they will get some happiness in the future, right? Swarga kamo yajeta. This is what the Shastras say. It means a person should do yajna to attain heavenly pleasure, right? Even in the Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, 11th shloka, Krishna tells Arjuna that we should perform yajnas to please the devatas, and then the devatas will please us with by giving us rain and prosperity. And in this way, by working together, by supporting each other and pleasing each other, all of us will get prosperity in this world, right? Now, this is extremely transactional, right? This happiness and prosperity, so-called prosperity and happiness, it's like a give and take business model that I'll give this, I'll do this yajna, and I will get this from them, right? It lacks depth, it lacks love, it lacks unconditional love, right? And that is why it can never give us lasting satisfaction and happiness. And this is the reality, not just with Vedic scriptures, whether any religion of the world, Hindu, Christian, Muslim, or any other Christian of the world, the template, the theme is the same, that you follow a particular path, and if you follow that, you will get heaven, right? And it's addressed by different names, but you will get heaven. And what do we do after going to heaven? We'll enjoy. So why did we do all of these things? For our enjoyment, right? That is why it is said that we are all eye specialists. We operate as eye specialists. And here, eye is not the organ eye, but eye is the letter I, right? We are all eye specialists in the sense that we are always thinking, how can I enjoy? How can I be benefited? Even in so-called acts of selflessness, the desire for my personal enjoyment is hidden inside that, right? For example, if somebody says, I love my family a lot, a husband says, I love my wife, or wife says, I want to please my husband. So why does the husband want to keep the wife happy or keep the family happy? Because their happiness makes him happy, and eventually his happiness is the most important. Right? Why do we want our children to be happy? Because when they are happy, we are happy, and our happiness is the most important. Right? Somebody takes care of their car very, very nicely, or their house, their property very nicely. Why? There are so many cars, so many houses. Why this house itself we are taking care so nicely? Because it's not some sacrifice we are doing. It's just that by taking care of it nicely, we derive pleasure. And our pleasure, our happiness is the most important, right? So that's why we're all like eye specialists, right? And this is what religion teaches us as well, that you follow these things, you can enjoy. But if you don't follow them, you will go to hell and you will suffer, right? And this is dharma. And artha and kama by nature are transactional, right? Artha is like the currency of all transactions, currency of all businesses. And kama by nature is like, I will do by hook or crook, I want to enjoy, right? So it's very transactional, right? And being tired of all of these three things, a conditioned soul finally realizes that there is no lasting happiness in all the three. Finally, a conditioned soul decides, I want to go back. I want to get out of this material world. I'm done. I want to quit this. And then they desire for moksha. They start aspiring for moksha. But unfortunately, moksha is also transactional, right? Not just moksha in the Vedic Shastras, moksha in Bhagavad Gita is also transactional, right? Towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, 18.66, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. So Krishna says that abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. And if you can do this, if you surrender unto me completely and only me, if you take shelter of only me, evam sharanam raja, then I will relieve you of all your sinful reactions and moksha ishyami. I will deliver you. I will give you liberation. Right. So Krishna is giving the reward of moksha as the highest gift of towards the end of Bhagavad Gita. Right. But then this moksha is not unconditional. It has a condition. You surrender unto me, I will give you moksha. Right. If somebody says, okay, what if I don't surrender? Then Krishna gave a very simple principle. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham. Prapadyante means surrender. To the degree of your surrender, I will reciprocate. If you surrender fully, I will give you liberation. If you surrender partially, I will reciprocate in that manner. If you don't surrender at all, I will leave you to your karma. Right? So here again we see this principle of transaction, business transaction coming in as well, right? So dharma is a business, artha is a business, kama is a business, and unfortunately it turns out moksha is also a business transaction. It is not unconditional, right? Then finally the question comes, where do we go, right? What is the hope? What process should we follow so that we get you know we get the right sort of lasting peace and satisfaction and happiness, and more than that, it is purposeful. What path can we follow? And that is where Gaudiya Acharyas, they say, पृथ्वी तैयारे किचु धर्म नाम चले भागवत कहे ताह परिपूर्ण चले. So it says पृथ्वी तैयार किचु dharma nama chale. In this planet or in this material world, anything that happens in the name of religion is all chala, it's all cheating. And Bhagavat kahe taha paripurna chale, and Bhagavat calls it complete cheating, absolute cheating in the name of religion, right? Now this is a very strong statement. And this verse is saying that all forms of all scriptures, all forms of religion given in all scriptures, including the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam calls it as cheating. This might seem very shocking for us, right? Uh, but if you have to understand this in a little more detail, Vyasadev, he is the compiler of all the Shastras, all the Vedas, all the Puranas, all the Upanishads, Itihasas, everything was compiled by Vyasadev. Even Bhagavad Gita, which is part of the broader Mahabharat Itihas, that also was compiled by Vyasadev himself. But after compiling all of these things, Vyasadev was very sad, very dejected, right? We know that pastime. And then his guru Narada Muni comes and he asks him, why are you not happy? And then Vyasadeva says, I don't know, I'm feeling very distressed and unpleasant, and I'm not feeling happy, I'm not feeling satisfied. And then Narada Muni says, all forms of religion that you have given in your Shastras so far are transactional in nature. They're all business transactions, right? And do you think the living entities want business transactions or they want something unconditional? Do we want somebody to love us unconditionally for who we are, for whatever we do, and not just, reward us for something that we have done, right? What do we want? Someone to love us because we did something for them, or someone to love us irrespective of what we ever do for them, right? We want unconditional love. And Nardamani says that aspect is missing in all the work, literature, shastra that you've compiled so far. And that is why you are, miserable like this. And then Vyasadeva says, okay, I got my answer. Now I'm going to compile a literature which is transcending all these transactional forms of dharma, right? And then he gets up, does Achaman with the waters of Saraswati. Then he starts compiling the scripture, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the very beginning, 1.1.2, second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva writes, Dharma projita kaitavottara parama. Right? He says, the highest dharma, which is devoid of any cheating propensity, is presented here in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sridhar Goswami in the commentary writes by saying projita, by adding the syllable pra, suffix pra, prefix pra in projita, Vyasadeva is rejecting all forms of all goals, all the Chaturpurusharthas, including moksha, and not just Sayuja Mukti, not just impersonal liberation, but all forms of all five kinds of liberation is being rejected by Vyasadeva here, right? So the final thing, final reward that was mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, which is moksha, that also got rejected. And Vyasadeva says, none of that is valid. Now, what I am going to give from now, this is the highest dharma. This everything else is cheating religion, but this is the true principle that I am going to establish. Right now, this might make us think that until now, everybody, all the devotees have been saying, read Bhagavad Gita, read Bhagavad Gita. In December, we went around distributing Bhagavad Gita. Does it mean we should not read Bhagavad Gita? That's not the intent. And we'll talk about it towards the end. In a bit from now, we'll talk about what our mood should be and why Bhagavad Gita is so effective for all of us right now, right? But yeah, in principle, Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amala Puran. That's the scripture that Vyasadeva wrote, which was supposed to transcend all sort of transactional sort of dealings, right? Now, so we understand that dharma, artha, kama, moksha, or any form of religion that we have ever practiced in our life are all transactional and we should rise above them. And now we come into Krishna consciousness. We come into spiritual life. Some devotee pulls us, some devotee gives us a book, some devotee introduces us to this process, and we start our sadhana. But unfortunately, when we come to bhakti, we come with the same transactional mindset, with the same business mindset that I want to do I'll do this so that I get something, right? We just sugarcoat it with some very fancy words, some nice, grammar that we pick up from devotees. Like no sense gratification. My only desire is to please the Lord. The goal of life is Krishna Prema. We say these things, but do we actually desire for them? Is that what we are aspiring for in our heart, right? Right now, anybody, even a small kid, if they are asked in our moment, what is the goal of your life? We all will say unanimously, the goal of my life is to go back home, back to Godhead, right? And if somebody asks, wow, great, but why do you want to go back, right? Uh, you know, why are we chanting our 16 rounds? Why are we following four regulative principles? Why are we trying to be nice devotees? Why are we hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? These things are not very natural to us. But why are we doing all of this? Because somebody has told us that by doing these things, we can go back to Godhead. And what will we do after going back to Godhead? Again, the natural robotic response is, I will go there and serve Krishna, right? But is that the reality? Is that our true desire? No, right? We want to go back to Godhead because we have heard that Vaikunta is a place where there is no suffering. Vigata Kunta iti Vaikunta, right? And this material world is Dukkhalayam. It is filled with sufferings. So I want to go get out of this world of sufferings and I want to go to a place where there is only Ananda, where there is only happiness and there is no suffering. I want to go there. And for me to go there, if that means that I have to serve Krishna, then I will serve Krishna. Okay, so what? I will serve him, right? That's the mood that we are generally in. Because if serving Krishna was our goal, then why go to the spiritual world? We can do that very nicely here as well. Going to the spiritual world is not a necessary condition for us to serve the Lord, right? But for us, we are so engulfed in liberation and that desire for enjoyment and getting out of these sufferings that becomes our primary objective in sadhana, right? And if we start our spiritual life or if we practice our spiritual life with the intent of having transactional relationship with the Lord, then how can the outcome be unconditional? How can Lord's love towards us be unconditional, right? That also will remain transactional. And that is why, although initially in our Krishna consciousness, we might have started because we want to get free of our karmas, we want to escape the suffering of this material world, we want to enjoy the happiness of the spiritual world, we want to experience the opulence and beauty of spiritual world. All of those things are okay to start our path. But once we spend time in sadhana bhakti and as we go deeper and deeper and deeper in our relationship with Krishna, we need to transcend these sort of transactional dealings with the Lord. We have to try and aspire to go above them, because these desires don't just stop our progress in bhakti, but they kill our bhakti over time. Over time, these completely possess us like demons. Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.2.22, first part, second chapter, 22nd verse, he says, भुक्ति मुक्ति स्पृह यावत् पिशाची हृदि वर्तते तावत् भक्ति सुखस्यत्र कथम अबुद्ध्य भवेत्. So he says, there are two sprahas, two desires, right, which are very, very dangerous for a sadhaka. One is bhukti spraha. Bhukti spraha means desire for enjoyment in this world. And second is mukti spraha, desire for liberation, going back to Godhead, right? We see these are the exact two things which Prithu Maharaj also pointed out to the Lord, and he said, I don't want it. I don't want material happiness, I don't want liberation. And these are the exact two things which Rupa Goswami are saying are the most dangerous obstacles in the life of a sadhaka, right? He calls them Pisachi Hridi Vartate, which means he calls these two desires as witch, as demons, right? These witches have completely controlled, grasped the heart of the sadhaka, right? And we can see if somebody is possessed by a demoniac, force, then we see that they're very, very sad. Their face, with their eyes, with their face, we see that the life has been sucked out. There is no happiness in the soul, no happiness in the body of such a person who is possessed by demons, right? So the life of sadhaka, the bhakti of a sadhaka becomes dry like that when they are caught by these two demons of bhukti and mukti, desire for bhukti and desire for mukti, right? And that is where we need to strive to come out of it, right? In when we are conquered by the desire for bhukti, for enjoyment, we are constantly thinking, unless I get this, I can't be happy. Unless I get that, I will not be happy. We are always agitated. And with mukti spraha, why do we get up early in the morning? It's not easy. Why do we chant? Why are we sitting here in this class? Why are we hearing Bhagavatam? Why are we serving the Lord? Why are we doing all of this? Because if we don't do this, we will not get liberated. And if we don't get liberated, we will suffer. Right? So even the smallest act of seva that we do, transactional selfishness is hidden inside that in some shape or form, right? For most of us. And it's very important that we do exorcism in the sense that we identify these demons and we remove them. We become free from the possession of such demoniac entities, right? Now, the idea is not that we should not go back home, back to Godhead, right? Prabhupada also firmly established that, we should aspire for it. We should desire to go back home, back to Godhead. But the intent is that we don't want to go back home, back to Godhead. That's not our main goal. Main goal is not liberation, right? We should offer a prayer to the Lord. Our prayer should to the Lord should be that, dear Krishna, dear Lord, I do not want to go back home, back to Godhead in exchange for my service, right? I don't want liberation as a reward for my service. The reward for my service should be your unconditional love, right? And it's like going back to Godhead is Krishna's headache. Taking us back or not is Krishna's headache. But attaining Krishna Prema is our headache. That's something that we need to aspire for. And then when we lose that aspiration, lose the desire for liberation, for going back to Godhead, then why do we chant? Why do we hear? Why do we read? It is only to give a loving pleasure to the Lord, nothing else. There's nothing else left why we would do these things if we don't want to go get liberation as well, right? So that is why, although Krishna makes this grand statement in the Bhagavad Gita that ye yata mam prapadyante tam statevya bhajamiham, to the degree of my devotees surrender, I will reciprocate, right? He makes this grand statement. But that statement completely breaks at this point. When a devotee looks at Krishna and the devotee says, Krishna, you know what? I don't want you to reciprocate. I don't want anything from you. Like how Prithu Maharaj is telling here. But when a devotee tells that to the Lord, then the Lord is defeated. right? Then bhakti completely conquers Bhagavan, and he that devotee becomes extremely favorable, extremely dear to the Lord. Right? We see this in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto as well. Gopis did not desire for anything except love for Krishna. They didn't want anything else from Krishna. And because of that, Krishna, he tells the gopis that I am not able to repay the debt of your loving service even in a lifetime of Brahma. Right? Even for eternity, I am not able to repay the debt of the loving service that you are offering to me. Right? So that's how indebted, that's how grateful the Lord becomes. He becomes purchased by devotees who transcend these transactional dealings with Krishna. Right? And for such a devotee, mukti becomes a side effect. It comes naturally. No need to aspire for it. Right? Brahma says in the Bhagavatam, Tattenu kampam susamikshmano bunjana evatmakritam vipakam hridvagvapurmir vidadan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadhaya bhak. So jivetayo mukti pade sadhaya bhak. Mukti becomes the birthright of such devotees who don't have transactional dealings with the Lord. Even if they don't want, the in the house of such a devotee, the doorbell rings, and when they open the door, Mukti Devi is standing there, waiting to be accepted by the devotee. But the devotee will only accept her if it is favorable for his service, favorable for Krishna Prema. If not, he will not even accept Mukti. Right? Now, this is the goal that we all should aspire to. This is where we need to come to. But we know that we are far away from there. Although these principles are very nice to hear, we are nowhere close to it, right? But then Krishna does not see perfection in us, right? The beauty of this process of sadhana bhakti is it is not about perfection, it is about progress, consistent progress. And Krishna just doesn't see where we reached, he sees where we came from and how far we have come forward, right? And that makes him more happy. More than perfection, seeing our progress gives pleasure to the Lord, gives happiness to the Lord, right? And if we can somehow keep going, and there will be ups and downs, there will be fall downs, all of those things will happen, right? I recently heard His Grace Vajbihari Prabhu. He was sharing this incident that when Prabhu was very young, he saw that, and he used to go out to play. He saw that there were a group of boys, and one boy was getting thrashed very brutally. They were practicing karate, and he was getting beaten up. And the next day, when Prabhu went to play again, the same boy was given black belt. He was appreciated, and everybody were clapping, and it was like a ceremony, and he got a black belt. And then the Prabhu thought that yesterday he got thrashed so much, and today he's being awarded, he's being given black belt like this. What is this? And then, whenever Prabhu would see anybody hear or see anybody who said that, I have a black belt in karate, first thing Prabhu would think is, oh, this person would have got beaten very badly. Very brutally, he would have gotten beaten, right? Similarly, whenever we see anybody in Krishna consciousness who have practiced bhakti for a long time, 40 years, 40 years, 20 years, whatever, we can assume without any doubt that they have endured a lot, they have tolerated a lot. In spite of all material ups and downs, economic ups and downs, financial, family, relationship, all of those troubles, in spite of all of that, their desire for serving the Lord, their desire to please the Lord has never died down. So if we can associate with such devotees and learn from them and look at the examples of the devotees that are there in Srimad Bhagavatam, what is their mood, what sort of prayers they are offering, and aspire to reach that level at some stage in our life. If we can have that goal, then very soon we can also have like non-transactional relationship with the Lord and give him genuine pleasure and happiness, right? So with that, I'll stop here. Unless any questions or any comments. And if there are any offenses, kindly forgive me and please feel free to correct. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful session. Like always, no, any session from your side is nectar. So wonderfully put forth this pastime of Prithu Maharaj, especially how one should be forgiving, and you beautifully explain the different levels. You have given good examples of especially Vali and Sugriva, and you concluded with no, what is the real motive we have. No, our understanding is no, that we want to go to back to Godhead, but what is our real, what should be our real understanding and motive. So thank you very much, Prabhu, for very beautifully bringing this out. Um, anybody's having any comments, any realization, or any doubts? I know we are short of time, but anybody who want to leave, they can leave for any commitment. But anybody want to take some time to share their realization or have any questions, we can take that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the most amazing class. So it was, I don't know what to say, so nectarian. In between, I was thinking I'm so hopeless. How will I even continue considering my position and my heart? But then finally, towards the end, you gave so much of hope, saying that Krishna will only look at the progress we are making, even though I am not making any particular progress. But when I look back, with the mercy of all the senior Vaishnavas, I could move ahead somehow, although I'm limping all the time. But I think you gave a lot of hope towards the end. I don't have any questions because it was so clear, so amazing, most beautiful. Thank you so much. Chandra pranams at your daughter's feet. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for wonderful realization.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam.
Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Many ups and downs where you have mentioned like the person that is best, like who manages both things together. We need money also, and that thing when you said no, and we want bhakti also. So if a person is leaving everything and ongoing, and then not only that, we want because we are staying here, we are grastas, we want that also thing. So moving with that, that is very good. How to manage it, that is a person who is very well. But Prabhuji, I have one thing. Two aspects are there in Krishna Leela when Lord Indra was there. He gave a lesson for him, lifting Govardhan. He supported devotees. Here, Krishna, here Lord is bringing Indra with him
Yeah.
and giving us a lesson. So how you see the we see Lord is the main hero, like he's giving us at each and every time the learning. So how we should take the both aspects.
Yeah. Very nice point, Mataji. So, how we can take this is that there's this principle that Krishna explains in the ninth chapter, 31st shloka. And this principle, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who gave a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he says, even if somebody doesn't hear any verse of Bhagavad Gita, this verse of Gita should be understood. And he says that all devotees should go out on the streets with mridangas and kartals and they should chant only this verse to explain this importance of this verse to everybody. And here, 9.30 and 9.31, Krishna tells Arjuna, Api chet suduracharo bhajate mamananyabhak sadureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. So it means, Api chet suduracharo. If a devotee, if a sadhaka performs extreme durachar, such abominable activity, such heinous crime that even material laws will not forgive him or her. Such bad activity if some devotee has performed, but bhajate mam ananya bhak. They have not given up their service. Their service is continuing, right? For such people, sadhur eva samantavya. We should continue to consider them as sadhus, and we should not criticize them. We should continue to look at them like that, right? And because such people, such devotees who have not given up service, although they have anarthas, then what happens is, uh, in the next verse, Krishna says, Kshipram bhavati dharamata shashvat chantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanehi name bhaktya pranashyati. So he says, my devotees will never perish because if they don't give up devotional service, I am seated as Paramatma in their heart, and Kshipram, I speak to them in the form of guilt. These devotees experience immense guilt and they undergo a transformation of heart and they overcome those anarthas. And that is how they are able to correct their mistakes, right? So here as well, although in the 10th canto Govardhan Leela, we see Krishna, no, he doesn't chastise Indra as such, but he does not, even look at Indra unless Indra comes with Surabhi, Mata. Indra also does the same thing. He puts devotee in the front and then he comes, right? But here we see that the Lord is personally bringing Indra. Why? Because there's a very important lesson of conflict management as a leader. In the class, we spoke about how we can manage conflict as people who are being involved in the conflict. But if you are somebody who is managing other people's conflict, which we generally have to do in our life, either material life or spiritual life, then this is a very important lesson. Here, if either Brahma or the Supreme Lord, if they had taken sides, if they had said, Prithu Maharaj, you are correct, Indra, you are wrong, we reject Indra, we will support Prithu and we'll kill Indra. If that had happened, then Indra would have never reformed. Indra would have, continued being envious, and he would have lost his post, lost his life, lost his chance, everything, right? But then they did something which pleased Prithu Maharaj also. It satisfied him. It gave him benefit. It gave him the greatest benefit, more benefit than what Prithu Maharaj would have got by performing that 100 yajnas. More than that, Prithu Maharaj got benefit, and at the same time, Indra also got reformed, right? So in this instance, by not taking sides, by not labeling one party as right and another party as wrong, by being neutral and by asking Prithu Maharaj to stop, this conflict was resolved in a perfect manner where Prithu Maharaj also got benefited and Indra also got reformed. But if it was not handled in this way, maybe it would have been very different. The outcome would have been very different. So in all of these different pastimes, Krishna just teaches us how to approach different situations according to time, place, and circumstance, and take the best out of them. But the underlying principle is we can never criticize devotees, whether it's Indra, whether it's anybody else. In this material world right now in Kali Yuga, all of us do far more heinous mistakes than what Indra has done, right? But Krishna still gives us an opportunity to speak about him. Krishna still gives us an opportunity to chant his holy name. Krishna still gives us an opportunity to serve and associate with his devotees. He keeps giving these opportunities, right? So that is only because of his mercy, right? And I was just telling in the class as well a while back that when we hear that Bhagavad Gita is also transactional, does it mean that we should not read it, right? And the understanding is in the Dwapar Yuga, that is when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. In that Yuga, when it was very fresh, that knowledge was very new. How many devotees do we know who read Bhagavad Gita and became devotees? How many personalities are there like that, right? At least nobody that we can think of, right? Arjuna was already a devotee. Dhritarashtra heard and he didn't transform. And anybody, there's no account where somebody was non-devotee and they heard the Gita and they transformed in the Dwapar Yuga. No recorded account as such, right? Maybe handful, just a few of them. But in Kali Yuga, how many such lives are there who read Bhagavad Gita and they became devotees of the Lord, right? They took up the process of bhakti. Millions and millions of them, right? So the question is, what changed? The content is the same. Then what changed, right? That is because that same Krishna who gave the Bhagavad Gita, in Kali Yuga, he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he dropped all the conditions. He let go of all the conditions. And he said, if you can chant the name of Krishna, you are my devotee. That's all. If you're able to chant Krishna, then you're devotee. Nothing else. I don't want anything else. So because Krishna himself came forward and gave unconditional love to all of us, and those devotees who accepted that unconditional mercy, they all became devotees as well, right? And it was no longer at the transactional platform. In that same mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada brought in the Bhagavad Gita. What was the conclusion of all the Shastras? Prabhupada gave that in every translation of every shloka of Bhagavad Gita. He gave that summary, he gave that conclusion. And that is why when this Bhagavad Gita, when devotees read, they see that their life transforms and they get closer to the Lord and they get connected to the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But again, the underlying principle is in this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, even if somebody chants Hare Krishna once, they are also devotees, right? So we have to be very, very careful when we deal with devotees, when we deal with others, right? Because one aspect is that we should count our blessings, right? And getting association of Vaishnavas is the greatest blessing that Dhruva Maharaj has asked, Prithu Maharaj has asked, Prahlad Maharaj, all of these devotees, after attaining the highest perfection, they are asking the Lord, give us the ability to associate with devotees and hear and serve the Lord in that association, right? Now we have all been blessed to get that readily. We all have that. So one aspect is count your blessings, but the other aspect is make your blessings count. Unless we make those blessings count, there is no point of sitting and counting our blessings, right? We might be grateful, but we won't transform if we don't make our blessings count. right? And Bhagavatam says, Tulayamalavena na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kim utashishaha. Bhagavatam says that Tulayama lave napi na swargam na punarbhavam. Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya, the association of devotees, even little bit of it, cannot be compared to heavenly pleasure or liberation, right? And if we've been given that benediction, we've been given that blessing, and we let it go because of some conflict, some unresolved hatred, and all of that, then that's the greatest loss that we can have, right? And through all of these pastimes, these dealings, this is what the Lord is trying to teach us of how to be sensitive in all our relationships, all our dealings, right? Okay, I'll stop here. Sorry,
Yes,
I
yes.
tend to
No,
keep going.
Prabhuji, you have mentioned so beautifully all the points. And one thing more you told, like time management, that is like Keki pastime you are telling now. So in that, Lord Ram only said like it is a time where she is thinking. So that is very good. Like if some conflict is there, we can wait for and just think on over it. Actually, we just react immediately, and the mind started pulling us like yes, yes, this has only happened, this has only happened, but this is really very good. Like give time to it, take a pause, and then think about it. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful like points. We can again one more time hear it, so we will get more points whenever we try to speak or make it understand to others. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. And by force, I know we are late, but I'll very shortly, I'll just share one more thing about the last thing you mentioned about time, right? Giving it a little more time, not jumping to conclusion. So it's mentioned that like when we do scuba diving, we jump from the boat a few feet down in the ocean, right? And when we do bungee jumping, we jump from the top of a mountain a few feet down, right? When we do something like skydiving, we go in an aeroplane, like in Dubai, people do this, and they jump from the aeroplane and they have a parachute that comes up. Thousands of feet from the air they jump. So all of these are different types of jumps, right? But the most dangerous jump that we can do is jumping to conclusion, right? That is the most dangerous. But unfortunately, that is a habit. That's become a habit that we are not able to overcome. And why that is so? It is because we have done it so many times that now we are inclined to do it, right? Generally, we see that if there is some bad habit, to form that, it's very easy. It doesn't take effort, no practice. Very easily, we become addicted to bad habit and we become a servant of bad habits. But if you have to inculcate good habits, it takes a lot of consistent effort. And Srila Prabhupada says that is because of inclination. And both the literal meaning of literal word inclination and the metaphorical thing as well. One is that we are inclined towards bad habits, and the other thing is inclination means if there's a flat surface and a drop of water falls, the water stays there. But if the surface is inclined and if a drop of water falls, water naturally without any effort will go towards the inclined side, right? So right now we are inclined towards bad habits, for example, right? Because we've done it from so many lifetimes. So whenever any situation comes up, any opportunity for developing habits come, naturally or because of the inclination, it goes towards the bad habits. And if you have to inculcate good habits, we need to put consistent effort to come back to the top, right? Even if you stop putting some effort for a while, it will again go back down because the inclination is like this. Similarly, we have that strong inclination to jump to conclusion. We think we have figured out everything, everything is sorted, so we directly jump to conclusion. But that's a very dangerous inclination, and it takes conscious effort and multiple failures and learning from those failures to overcome that and come back towards the what Krishna is saying. Start with the least negative conclusion and then go gradually, right? Thanks a lot for bringing out that point as well, Mataji. Thank you.
Wonderful. One more example, Prabhuji. We can just remember through it. That is like worst jump. We jump to conclusion. Other all jumps are okay, but this is like very bad. So that is also for reminding us and giving explaining it through with the wonderful example. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Hare Krishna. Think other devotees will be scared of asking questions. So I think we're good, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. So, Prabhupada Prabhu, do we have anything for tomorrow's or any general announcements?
Yeah, so basically